8 years into the zombie apocalypse, humanity has learned how to survive behind walls. But something impossible is happening outside those walls. One zombie is starting to feel alive again. At an abandoned airport, dozens of zombies wander through the terminals, almost as if they are still following routines from their old lives. One pushes a cleaning cart. Others drift through stores and hallways, but none of them actually work here. The airport has simply become their home, and whenever hunger takes over, they leave in packs to hunt the humans living inside a heavily fortified city. Among them is a zombie who remembers almost nothing about himself. He doesn't know how he died, who he used to be, or even his full name. The only thing he can remember is that his name started with the letter R, so that's what he calls himself. Unlike the others, R knows exactly what he has become. He hates the silence inside his own head and desperately wishes he could talk, connect with people, and feel human again. And becoming a zombie isn't even the worst possible fate. Eventually, zombies lose the last traces of their humanity, tear away their own skin, and transform into terrifying skeletal creatures known as bonies. These things are faster, more violent, and completely beyond saving. R knows that sooner or later, the same thing could happen to him, and he wants no part of it. Instead, he spends most of his time inside an abandoned airplane that he has turned into his personal home. He collects old objects, listens to vinyl records, and tries to hold on to whatever pieces of humanity he still has. His closest friend is another zombie, named M. Calling them best friends might be generous, because most of their conversations consist of staring at each other and making a few broken sounds. Still, somehow they understand enough. Then hunger hits. R, M, and several other zombies leave the airport and head toward human territory looking for food. Inside the protected city, we meet Julie, the daughter of the military colonel responsible for defending the survivors. Julie and a small team, including her boyfriend Perry and her friend Nora, are sent beyond the walls to recover badly needed medical supplies. They reach an abandoned building and begin collecting medicine. Then Nora hears something. The team immediately raises their weapons. They're not alone. R and his group suddenly storm the building, and the situation explodes into chaos. The survivors fight back with guns, knowing that a clean headshot is the fastest way to stop a zombie permanently. Perry knocks R down, but during the battle, R notices Julie. And for a dead man, his reaction is surprisingly human. He freezes. Something about her immediately gets through to him. Before R can process what he's feeling, Perry shoots him. R barely reacts, grabs Perry, drags him down, and kills him. Then R begins eating Perry's brain. For R, eating a human brain does something unusual. It doesn't just satisfy his hunger. It allows him to experience that person's memories, emotions, and most intimate moments as if they were his own. And through Perry's memories, R sees Julie. He sees their relationship, their conversations, their time together. Suddenly, Julie isn't just another human standing in front of him. She's someone he feels connected to. And this changes everything. For the first time since becoming undead, R isn't looking at a human as food. Through Perry's memories, Julie has suddenly become someone real to him. Across the room, Julie is still fighting until her ammunition runs out. When Perry disappears, panic sets in. R now understands exactly who she is. He also knows the horrible truth she doesn't. He just killed her boyfriend. Julie sees R approaching and throws a knife at him, but it barely slows him down. Yet instead of attacking her, R protects her. R doesn't understand why he's doing this yet. He only knows that every instinct telling him to kill Julie is being overpowered by something he thought died years ago. He covers Julie with zombie blood to hide her human scent, making the others believe she's one of them. Terrified and confused, Julie realizes cooperating with this strange zombie may be her only chance to survive. R leads her through the horde and takes her back to his airplane. Julie stays as far away from him as possible. R tries to tell her not to be afraid, but with his limited speech, his attempt at reassurance sounds anything but reassuring. Julie considers escaping, but one look outside changes her mind. The airport is crawling with zombies. For now, she's trapped. Julie may have escaped the massacre, but she's now alone in the middle of zombie territory with the creature who killed her boyfriend, and somehow, he's also the only thing keeping her alive. Meanwhile, R has secretly brought pieces of Perry's brain back with him. Every time he eats more, another memory appears. Through Perry's eyes, R discovers that Julie has encountered zombies before. She and Perry once traveled through a hidden passage outside the city while Perry searched for his father. They found him, but he had already become infected. When Perry's zombified father attacked, Julie was forced to shoot him. Now R understands why Julie is so terrified of him. When he returns to the plane, he notices she's cold and quietly gives her a blanket. Then he puts on some music and leaves her alone, instead of threatening her. Julie can't understand it. Everything she knows says this creature should want to kill her. But R keeps doing the opposite. And then something even stranger happens. Inside R's dead chest, his heart beats. Just once. But that's enough. Something inside him is changing. His body has just shown the first sign that death might not be permanent. The next morning, Julie tells R she wants to leave. He warns her that going outside is too dangerous. So Julie tries another strategy. She tells him she's hungry and politely asks him to find food. R immediately leaves. The second he's gone, Julie makes her move. She escapes the plane and races through the airport, only to discover that getting away from R is much easier than getting away from everyone else. Zombies begin closing in. Before they can reach her, R appears again. He covers her face with more zombie blood and tells her to move like one of them. Julie tries her best zombie walk. A little too hard. Even R has to tell her to tone it down. The disguise works, and together they manage to steal food before returning safely to the plane. By now, Julie's view of R is beginning to change. He hasn't hurt her. He saved her multiple times. And beneath the dead skin and broken speech, she can tell there's still someone inside him. They finally begin talking. R tells her that all he remembers about his name is the first letter, so Julie simply starts calling him R. She still wants to go home, but R convinces her that the area isn't safe enough yet, and asks her to stay a little longer. Julie agrees. The next few days become something neither of them expected. Julie drives one of the abandoned cars around the airport, and eventually convinces R to try. That turns out to be a terrible idea. The moment he takes the wheel, he crashes straight into a garage. But instead of fear, Julie laughs, and little by little, the distance between them disappears. The more time R spends acting human, the less zombie he seems to become. Julie isn't simply getting comfortable around him, she may actually be pulling him back toward the person he used to be. They listen to music, dance, play games, and spend time together like two normal people living in a world that stopped being normal years ago. One night, M hears music coming from R's airplane and realizes something unusual is happening inside. Julie, meanwhile, opens up to R about Perry. She tells him that Perry died near the same place where R found her, then asks something R desperately doesn't want to answer. Could Perry have become a zombie too? R tells her no. He knows Perry is gone permanently. What he cannot bring himself to admit is that he's the reason. Julie becomes emotional, and R changes the music, hoping to pull her out of the painful moment. Eventually, she falls asleep. R doesn't. Zombies don't sleep the way humans do, and they don't dream. So while Julie rests, R eats another piece of Perry's brain, allowing himself to experience memories he could never have on his own. Then he looks toward Julie. She's gone. She has escaped again. Julie runs through the abandoned airport, but several aggressive zombies quickly surround her. This time, R doesn't hesitate. He attacks his own kind. For the first time, he is willing to fight other zombies to protect a human. This is the moment R crosses a line he can't undo. Until now, he was different from the other zombies only in his thoughts. Now he's openly choosing a human over his own kind. Then, M arrives. He sees Julie and immediately reminds R what she is food. But R steps directly in front of her. No, she's his friend. Before the situation can go any further, something much worse appears. The Bonies. Even ordinary zombies fear them. R grabs Julie and runs, but the creatures pursue them and eventually surround the pair. There seems to be no way out. Then, M comes charging in with a vehicle, smashing through the Bonies and opening a path to safety. The three race toward their main vehicle, only to find another massive group of zombies blocking the way. This time, R doesn't fight. Instead, he reaches for Julie's hand. In front of everyone. The other zombies stare. A dead man protecting a living girl should make no sense to them. But somehow, it does. Something inside their lifeless bodies begins to respond. For the first time in years, they aren't looking at a human as food. They're watching R care about someone. And they understand. The zombies slowly step aside, allowing R and Julie to leave. And R's decision doesn't affect only him. Watching one of their own care about Julie awakens something buried inside the others, almost like humanity itself is becoming contagious. But from a distance, the Bonies watch them go. Later that night, heavy rain forces R and Julie off the road. R can't feel the cold, but Julie is shivering badly, so they take shelter inside an abandoned house. While exploring, Julie discovers an old camera. She points it at R and snaps a picture. Then she hands him the camera and asks him to take one of her. For a few seconds, there are no walls, no armies, no zombies. Just two people sharing an ordinary moment in a world where ordinary life has almost disappeared. But back at the airport, something even bigger is happening. M discovers an old photograph showing a young couple holding hands. As he stares at it, forgotten emotions begin pushing through the emptiness inside him. Fragments of memory return. Other zombies gather around the photograph. They look at the image. They remember. And then, one after another, hearts that haven't moved in years begin beating again. R's connection with Julie hasn't only changed him. Somehow, it has reminded an entire group of the dead what it feels like to be human. Now this is bigger than one zombie falling for one girl. R may have accidentally discovered the one thing capable of reversing the apocalypse. The change spreading through the zombies is real. But before anyone can understand it, the Bonies realize something is wrong. These creatures have no interest in becoming human again. While the other zombies begin searching for R, hoping to protect him, R and Julie are still hiding inside the abandoned house. Then Julie looks through the window. Her father has arrived. Colonel Grigio and a heavily armed military unit are searching the area for her. Julie immediately stays out of sight. She knows exactly what would happen if her father saw R. He wouldn't ask questions. He would put a bullet through his head. After everything R has done to keep her alive, Julie refuses to let that happen. Once the soldiers move on, she returns upstairs. Later that night, Julie finally asks the question that's been bothering her. If R survives by eating humans, why did he save her instead? Why was she different? Her words hit R harder than she realizes. Because there's still one truth standing between them. Perry, R finally decides he can't hide it anymore. He admits that he killed Perry. Then he shows Julie Perry's watch. Julie becomes emotional, but the confession doesn't shock her as much as R expects. She had already suspected the truth. She saw what R was doing to Perry's body back at the medical facility. Julie quietly goes to sleep. R remains beside her, crushed by guilt. Then something happens that should be impossible. R falls asleep too. And for the first time since becoming a zombie, he dreams. Eating brains allowed R to borrow other people's memories. But this dream is different. It belongs to him. His own mind is finally starting to function like a living person's again. That matters. Because zombies don't dream. R isn't simply behaving more human anymore. His body is actually returning to life. The next morning, R wakes up and discovers Julie is gone. She has returned to the human city. At the entrance, guards stop her and check for any sign of infection. She passes. She's completely healthy. Her father arrives shortly after, relieved to see her alive, and Julie is finally allowed back inside. R, meanwhile, returns to the airport expecting everything to be the same. It isn't. M and the others have changed too. Their hearts are beating. Their speech is improving. Their emotions are returning. Whatever started with R is spreading. And that's when R understands the real stakes. The zombies aren't simply learning to behave better, the infection itself appears to be reversing. But M also brings terrible news. The Bonies are gathering in huge numbers, and they're preparing to attack the human city. They are also hunting R and Julie. The Bonies now have every reason to stop them. If the zombies can become human again, creatures like them may soon have no place left in this world. R immediately realizes the humans need to know the truth. If soldiers keep treating every zombie as an enemy, they'll destroy the very creatures who could help them survive the coming attack. The other zombies agree to help. They hold the Bonies back while R slips away through the same hidden route Julie and Perry once used to enter zombie territory. R crosses into the city. Now he only needs to find Julie without getting shot. Ironically, R's biggest danger inside the city isn't a monster. It's the people he's trying to save. Because to them, he still looks exactly like the enemy. Julie is inside her room talking to Nora. She tells her everything about R, how he protected her, how different he was, and how much she already misses him. Nora immediately sees what Julie doesn't want to admit. She asks if Julie has actually fallen for a zombie. Julie laughs it off. Then she steps onto the balcony. And freezes. R is standing below. Julie rushes downstairs. The first thing she tells him is that coming here was insane. If one soldier recognizes him, he's dead. Nora arrives seconds later and nearly panics when she realizes there's a zombie standing in the middle of their city. The two girls quickly hide him inside. Once Nora gets a closer look, even she notices something strange. R barely moves like a zombie anymore. His voice is clearer. His reactions are faster. He looks almost normal. Julie asks why he risked coming back. R tells them about the Bonies. A massive army is heading toward the city. But that's only half the message. R tells Julie that the zombies are healing. They're becoming human again. The soldiers have to know before they start shooting the wrong side. There's just one problem. Colonel Grigio hates zombies more than almost anything. If R walks into the room looking like himself, the conversation will probably last half a second. So Julie and Nora come up with another plan. They clean R up, fix his appearance, and disguise him well enough to pass as human. By the time they're finished, he looks surprisingly convincing. Meanwhile, Colonel Grigio has already received intelligence about the approaching Bonies. He orders his soldiers to prepare for a full-scale attack. When Julie approaches him, he tells her the city is about to become a battlefield and orders her to go home. Instead, Julie tells him something far more important. The zombies are changing. They're coming back. Her father doesn't believe a word. So Julie brings out the proof. R steps forward. He admits that he's a zombie, but he tells the colonel that he isn't what he used to be. The others are changing too. R isn't asking the humans to trust zombies blindly. He's warning them that the battle has changed, and if they don't recognize it quickly, they could destroy their only unexpected allies. Julie backs him up. Her father doesn't care. And this reveals the real problem. R's body is changing faster than people's fear of him. Convincing humanity that a monster can change may be harder than becoming human in the first place. The moment he realizes what R is, he raises his weapon directly at him. Before he can fire, Nora points a gun at the colonel from behind. That gives Julie and R the few seconds they need. They run. Using the hidden passage, they escape the city and return to the airport, where M and the other zombies are waiting. M struggles through broken words to explain that their emotions are returning. But the reunion doesn't last. The Bonies have followed Julie's scent. They attack. And this time, the zombies don't run from them. They fight back. Not for food. Not for territory. For Julie. R grabs her hand and leads her away, while the others battle the Bonies. At the same time, Colonel Grigio's soldiers enter zombie territory expecting to fight both sides. Instead, they see something they never expected. Zombies are attacking Bonies, not humans. Then several Bonies ambush the soldiers. A zombie jumps in and saves them. That single moment changes everything. The soldiers finally understand. These zombies aren't the enemy anymore. For the soldiers, this is the proof Julie couldn't give her father with words. The creatures they've spent years hunting are now risking themselves to protect human lives. The military and the undead turn their weapons toward the same target. Within seconds, the battlefield completely changes. Humans and zombies are fighting side by side. 8 years of fear and hatred disappear in a matter of seconds. Word reaches Colonel Grigio over the radio. His soldiers confirm that the zombies are helping them. Even he is forced to reconsider everything he believed. Meanwhile, R and Julie are still being chased. They fight off several Bonies, but eventually reach a dead end. A massive drop lies ahead of them, water far below, Bonies behind them. No escape route. R makes the decision for both of them. R still doesn't know whether he's becoming human. But what he does next is completely human. He chooses Julie's survival over his own. He pulls Julie against him and jumps. They crash into the water. Julie surfaces, but R doesn't. His body is still too lifeless to keep itself afloat. Julie dives back down, grabs him, and drags him to shore. They're finally safe. And after everything R has done for her, Julie can no longer deny what she feels. Then something extraordinary happens. R changes. His eyes become human. Color returns to his body. The transformation that began with one heartbeat is finally complete. But Colonel Grigio arrives before anyone can celebrate. He still sees R as a zombie. So he fires. The bullet hits R. R screams in pain. Then blood runs from the wound. Warm, red, human blood. And, strangely, getting shot becomes the final proof that saves him. The colonel raises his weapon again, but Julie steps between them. She points to the blood. R isn't undead anymore. He can bleed. He can feel pain. He is human. For the first time, Colonel Grigio finally sees the truth. He lowers the gun and orders his men to get R medical treatment. Back on the battlefield, The alliance between humans and recovering zombies overwhelms the bonies. The creatures are wiped out, and once the fighting ends, the world begins changing almost as quickly as R did. The recovering zombies are accepted back into human society. People who once lived on opposite sides of a wall begin rebuilding together. And eventually, that massive barrier separating the living from the dead is torn down. It isn't needed anymore. In the end, the biggest change isn't R's transformation. It's the fact that humans and zombies finally stop seeing each other as two sides that can never coexist. As for R, he gets something he thought was gone forever, a second life. And this time, Julie is beside him. R began this story as a corpse who couldn't even remember his name. By the end, he has his heartbeat, his humanity, and someone worth living for.